When drawing attention to the inner life and the inner emotional movement and recognizing feelings and emotions as they arrive, I will often start a lesson by holding up this jar. And I'll say, you know what it's like when you're really calm, often just before you go to sleep at night, and you feel really calm and still, and your mind becomes still, and you slip off into sleep. That delicious feeling of being totally empty. Maybe it looks a bit like that. And then I'll say, well, you know what happens, like you might be in the playground and someone says something hurtful to you, or something happens and you become anxious and a bit sad. Do you feel like this? All churned up. Now, this is called a mind jar, and this is a very simplistic one. You can make a much better one. Just go online, there's heaps of recipes for them. And the whole purpose of it, there's two purposes really. It can be like a visual display of how we feel when we're churned up, like that. The mind, the feelings, we're filled, we're a bit confused. But it also, particularly in moments of stress and anxiety, when children are really overwhelmed by thoughts and feelings that they can't control, you can get them to watch it settle, and it's a distraction from being caught up in the mind. So having one of these on the desk can serve a couple of functions. It can just simply be shaken and remind the children they're being a bit noisy and we all need to calm down. Or we could have perhaps use it as a way to focus the attention when you have a child who is overly anxious or distressed. But largely a mind jar is just a symbol of how the mind can become very churned up, but if we leave it alone and don't overthink it, it naturally settles of its own. And we can talk about the waves of the ocean, how the waves are part of the ocean, but they rise up and then they just disappear. The same as thoughts and feelings all day long. We're experiencing thoughts and feelings, but it's when we become entrapped in them and start telling ourselves stories that they can become problematic. So, as we know, in mindfulness, we're training ourselves to be aware of where our attention is, training ourselves to recognize when we go into overthinking or anxious thinking.